Okay, that was... what? Mummy on the Orient Express. Going into the episode, hearing that title, seeing the premise of the episode, a mummy on the Orient Express seems a bit ugh. Once again, just like The Caretaker, you fall into what I deem to be the best episode of Series 8 thus far, in my honest opinion. The writer of this story is fresh blood for Doctor Who, Jamie Matheson, who is also going to be writing Flatline, which is this week's episode. For once, I'm going to start off with what I thought of the plot of this episode. Running in, straight away you had the Doctor and Clara together, and right off the bat I was thrown. It felt as though Clara either wasn't supposed to be in this episode, or it was supposed to be placed earlier on in the run, maybe prior to Kill the Moon, or later on in the run, after it all finished and settled down. But more on that later, because that's not the plot. Having a mummy that kills you in 66 seconds was quite a strange move. I should have done some research, but I'm not sure if that's an actual tale that exists, and if it is, that's really cool that they've managed to throw it into Doctor Who, and if it isn't, even better. The way the Doctor tied threads and rhymes of the mummy throughout, and talking to the sciencey guy, and offering him jelly babies, was great. There was great interaction between the entire supporting cast, apart from Fox's. And so the plot of this mystery mummy managed to be intertwined, twine isn't the same as bandages, throughout the whole episode, leading to the great resolution at the end, with the surrender, which at first I was a bit, what? You've just said surrender, and the mummy's like, I'm good. But I assume surrender was the key word that turned off the device within the mummy, which I thought was great that in the end there was a code word for the mummy to stop murdering you, but not in the way that they assumed it could have been. Now, having to deduce myself what the surrender meant and what that end resolution was is a bit of a downer for this episode, as I loved it all over. The plot was great. I didn't fall asleep at any point. I didn't feel the need to go to the bathroom, but having your resolution a bit hazy is a bit of a dodgy move. I understand Doctor Who, a lot of it is based on what you think, with Listen being an example, not a great one, where you place what the monster is. But in this case, having it not completely obvious was a bit of a draw point. And then having the massive, fast-paced moment of frantic, oh, they're going to blow up the train, and then, you know, it got lost a bit after the amazing build-up throughout the entire episode. I feel this was the episode that has defined him as the Doctor. Though he references Tom Baker throughout it, I do feel this was the episode where he was a different man. Especially considering Kill the Moon and The Caretaker sort of painted him as this horrible, just a horrible old man. It's great to see in this episode he has some more lightness in him. And it's funny because during lots of interviews, Coleman and Capaldi specifically said, you'll know about mid-series who the Doctor really is. So I feel this is the episode that we really have a grasp on this man. There's Dad. Can't see him. Doesn't matter really. I'll let him finish what he's doing. Alright, let's continue. Having him still treat death as a whatever was great. You still had this kindness of the man who wanted to save everyone's life, but he realised it wasn't a possibility before he could understand what was going on. People did have to die. With his quote at the end bringing on a great homage to the previous episode, Kill the Moon, as well as expand his sort of mind process.
Sometimes the only choices you have are bad ones. But you still have to choose.
As I said before, it felt like Clara didn't need to be there. She literally was locked in a room for more than half the episode, and when she was out of the room, she didn't do anything. She sort of stood there and just called him out for being a bit of a nuisance. I'd try a different word there. I just felt Clara wasn't there this week. Not that I minded, because it allowed the Doctor to actually save the day for once, but it did detract from the episode having her and blonde lady in the carriage by themselves for a bit, and then you had a homage to the pyramids of Mars coffin opening. I just didn't feel that she needed to be there, and she really pulled the episode down in some of the moments and slowed it down. Once again, nothing to do with Jenna Coleman's acting skills. She does what she can with the character, but at the same time, it just wasn't a great move for Clara. What would change her mind to come back into the TARDIS? Also, how did she get him to come to see her. She specifically said, don't try to call me, don't try to contact me, just stay away. Did he just turn up to school one day at Coal Hill and say, come on, let's go? And she went, okay. Because that's not the impression I got from the end of Kill the Moon. Once again, these sort of plot threads aren't to do with the writer who writes these stories. Their overall stories are really good. It's the Stephen Moffat plot threads that always pull them down a bit. You can try and tell me that Stephen Moffat didn't write those things. I'll agree, he didn't. But he still chose what the order of the episodes would be, and how all of it would be intertwined, and I just feel Kill the Moon and Mummy on the Orient Express didn't belong to go together. Yes, in the end the Doctor proves himself to Clara by saving everyone on the train, but her choice to join the Doctor again, there was no room for explanation. She just appeared with him. This isn't an instance where there should have been a two-parter. This is an instance where there needed to be a 2-minute scene where she called him, or there was numerous attempts to capture his attention, just like Donna Noble or Amy and Rory in the cornfield, because it just felt strange. Her short conversation with Danny definitely showed that she wanted to be with him again, but I just don't feel that he would have responded to her after the argument they had. The end of it with Clara deciding, yes, I'll fly and show me some planets. I was happy. I felt this episode really brought home Clara and the Doctor's relationship, just in those final 10 minutes when they're on the beach, wherever the planet is. Those two scenes, inside the TARDIS and the beach scene, really brought home their relationship, and I loved it. I, for once, felt that they are a perfect team TARDIS, and I do hope that in the last 5 episodes we had this year, their relationship develops some more, and it's even more like a grumpy old man and his daughter, or just caring for someone younger than him, because I love it, and I think it's a great new dynamic for Doctor Who. Visually, this episode was mind-bogglingly good. The sets were beyond amazing. Although when they looked out of the carriage, it was obviously green screeny wizardry effects, it didn't pull away from how great the carriages really looked. The detail, as the Doctor described, is almost perfect. And the subtle things that made it a bit modern day were brilliant. They really pulled the story along and made you feel you were on the Orient Express, but in space. And not just the visuals, Marigold's music was sublime? After watching it, I watched Spearhead from Space and a couple of Tom Baker era episodes, and the music felt like they were drawn straight from them. After the Doctor leaves his room and does his little... when he walks into the sort of train engine-y room, as he sort of creeps around the corner, the music that cuts in there is just Tom Baker, classic era, just... I thought they were going to do it, and it never sort of happened. There was a little bit in Into the Dalek, but barring that, this series has been the typical Murray Gold full-on scores, which I've loved, don't get me wrong. But having this really classic series sort of premise really exploded when you have this classic series music. Once again, this whole story's plot and visuals and sound just bring the tone of it home, and though there may be a couple of iffy moments with the Doctor and Clara's ongoing story arc, I still loved it and I thought it was a great episode. So, thanks for watching. I managed to get this in before even UK people have watched Flatline. Amazingly, last time I meant to do it and then it didn't publish until the morning, so no one bothered to watch it. But that's fine. I'm fine. You're probably fine, unless you're... Have you got a cold? Ooh, yeah, no. Stick your tongue out? Yeah, no, you should get that checked, I think. Not that I'm a doctor, I'm the Doctor. So, thanks for watching and thanks for putting up with this. Watch my previous video if you want to hear the news. I got to 3,000 subscribers. I don't know why I'm so slanted. But, barring... Oh, what now? Record a review of Flatline? It's not even on yet. Why are you doing this to me? You're really trying to make me productive. Who's behind all this? And why am I talking to myself? Alright. Slide to unlock. It worked so well last time.